Nice opinion. Just one tiny problem with it. Inspecting your post, it looks like your opinion is different from mine. Let me tell you something. I am the baseline for opinions. Any opinion I hold is objectively correct, and as a result, any other opinions are wrong. Guess what? You happen to hold a wrong one. I hope you know that your opinion is now illegal. I have contacted the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Navy SEALs, Secret Service, and your mom. You'll be sorry you ever shared your opinions. By the time you're reading this, you'll be done for. Nature will punish you. Humanity will punish you. Supernatural beings will punish you. Space will punish you. We decided just to make sure we'll nuke your house from orbit, so there's no chance you can run away. Everyone will know you will die. It's a small price to pay to remove your wrong opinion from this world.
Alright, welcome back to another live stream, which we're gonna react to from this channel as I do recently, but I have linked the two videos I'm gonna watch in description, as usual. And if you like this stream, or if you're watching it after the stream is already over and not live anymore, consider liking the video, subscribe if you want, comment if you have any opinions on the video in the stream itself, and we will react. Again, I have put both videos in the description if you want to watch them yourselves, since I will be stopping and starting and speaking over said video as well. So let's get started.
Lately, people been saying Blackpink feels like 4 huge icons doing a special collab. And honestly, it makes sense.
I mean, it has been, since they're not really a group anymore, except the rare occasion that they do pop up together. But overall, I mean, I don't think they're even connected to YG anymore. So overall, they're not really a group. They're just occasionally just come together when they used to, I guess, reminisce when they used to be a group.
Because their solo success is on another level. The 12th of November 2018 changed the game. Jennie stepped out first, cleanly, and suddenly the industry had to look at Blackpink differently. Not just as 4 members inside one group, but as 4 stars who could stand alone without losing the name behind them. The results hit immediately. The track climbed to the top of Korea's Circle Digital Chart and Billboard's World Digital Songs Chart, and the music video later crossed 1 billion views, becoming the first K-pop female solo MV to ever do it.
Seriously, already? Oh, this show was...
It didn't feel like a quick trend. It felt like the start of something bigger. Because once the wins started stacking, it turned into something bigger than a debut. 3 Inkigayo trophies, a triple crown, the choreography spreading everywhere. Fans moved with it. Blackpink had created a solo lane, and Jennie made it look natural. Then the big moment happened. Coachella 2019, Blackpink making history on that stage, and right in the middle of that set, Jennie performed solo. Not as a sidetrack, not as a separate chapter. It fit between group songs like it belonged there the whole time. It showed how a solo stage could sit inside a group set and still feel natural. And honestly, the fashion world understood Jennie even earlier than the music industry did. Before people were debating solo careers, Jennie was already building her image like a brand. Chanel Korea Beauty Muse in late 2017, Chanel Korea Ambassador in 2018, then Paris Fashion Week in 2019, and suddenly she went from Chanel's face in Korea to a global house ambassador. Soon, Human Chanel just became the way people knew her. Then 2020 arrived quietly, and the expansion became official. Each member locked into a different luxury house, like 4 queens claiming 4 kingdoms. No overlap, no fighting for the same spotlight, just clear lanes. Jennie brought that trendy youth energy to Chanel, Rose carried sharp and edgy elegance with Saint Laurent, becoming their first global ambassador in 59 years. Lisa stepped into a modern look with Celine. Jisoo fit Dior's classic side naturally, rising from Korea ambassador to global face for both fashion and beauty. 4 members, 4 lanes, one name behind them. And that's when people started to notice something. Separation didn't weaken Blackpink. It multiplied them.
I would say in a way it did, because after they all did solos, there was no group activity anymore. So in a way it did, but at the same time didn't. That doesn't make sense, but you know.
The 12th of March 2021 brought the second voice. Rose opened her chapter with R, led by and backed by Gone. You could feel the difference right away. Jennie stepped out first, but Rose went deeper into the feeling. Less attitude, more honesty. And the impact showed up fast. On the Ground landed at #1 on Billboard Global 200 and Global excluding US, putting her in rare place as someone who could top both charts as a soloist and as a group member. Guinness World Records followed, and suddenly this solo era didn't look like a side project anymore.
All because of you. Another story that's sad and true.
The visuals moved just as fast. The music video pulled 41.6 million views in 24 hours, breaking an 8-year record. The album sold over 448,000 copies in its first week, setting the pace for Korean female soloists at the time. But what made Rose's Lane different was the sound. Minimal, personal, and quietly heavy. On the Ground leaned into indie pop, and with Rose co-writing, the message stayed close to her own voice. Fame, purpose, and the weird distance between success and happiness. Then April brought more. Tiffany & Co. brought her in as a global ambassador. Then the Met Gala happened, with Rose attending alongside CL, both in Saint Laurent. Music and fashion stopped being two worlds for her.
Oh, come on, seriously?
Most teenagers order candy from an app.
Well, most teenagers don't have a Skittles horn.
Yeah, well, if you go on GoPuff, you can...
Oh, it's
They
Elijah
started
Wood.
moving together naturally. Summer 2021 showed another side. Rose appeared on Sea of Hope, singing in a relaxed setting, performing covers, and letting people hear her without the stadium lights. It felt simple, but it added depth to her image. Then the 10th of September 2021 gave us the third solo. Lisa arrived with, and her solo debut hit hard from day one. The La Lisa music video hit 73.6 million views in 24 hours, breaking the previous record and earning her 2 Guinness World Records. The album sold over 736,000 copies in its first week, clearing Rose's record just 6 months later. She became the first female soloist to pass 500,000 first-week sales. The charts followed. Lalisa entered the Billboard Hot 100 at number 84 and reached number 2 on Billboard Global 200. And visually, she made sure nobody confused her identity. Thai influences ran through the music video from start to finish, with cultural references and traditional styling that felt intentional, not decorative. Even Thailand's prime minister publicly praised her for bringing Thai culture to a global stage.
Yeah.
But the real surprise came from the B side. Money took its time, then exploded. It started climbing through late 2021, got pushed to US radio as the second single, and suddenly turned into a global hit. It peaked at number 10 on Billboard Global 200, reached the Billboard Hot 100, and made history as the first song by a female K-pop soloist to chart multiple weeks there. The UK followed too, with an 8-week run on the singles chart. And it kept going. By November 2023, Money became the first K-pop solo track to reach 1 billion streams on Spotify. At that point, Lisa was simply building a second hit inside the same debut. Outside music, Lisa just kept going on. She launched a MAC cosmetics collection. Bulgari named her a global ambassador. And in October, she joined DJ Snake, Ozuna, and Megan Thee Stallion on SG, adding another market to her map and giving her a #1 on the Latin airplay chart. Still, her influence had already stretched far before her solo debut even happened. From 2020 to 2021, Lisa served as a dance mentor on Youth with You Seasons 2 and 3, showing up weekly in front of millions of viewers. It built her reputation as a serious coach, detail-focused, and respected in a completely different arena.
More people hated her for some of the clips. Not obviously not all, but some of the clips people didn't like. But then again, as a coach, you got to be strict.
Around the same period, Jisoo took her own step into a new lane. In December 2021, Snowdrop premiered, marking her acting debut in a leading role.
That was a sad drama. Although it was extremely slow. I will say I only cared about the cop couple more than the main couple, but it was still a good drama overall.
During South Korea's 1987 democracy movement, the drama ran into early 2022 and introduced Jisoo as more than an idol face. It was her first real entry into the acting world, and it gave Blackpink another side. Then, in August 2022, Rosé expanded again. She became a Solwasu global ambassador,
I don't know what that
adding
means.
another win to her lane. At this point, each member held multiple brands, multiple audiences, and multiple income streams. It was different lanes, yet same empire building. The solo run didn't slow down, even while the group kept moving forward together. The 28th of August 2022 brought another milestone for Lisa.
And the VMA goes to Lisa!
She won the MTV Video Music Award for Best K-Pop with Lalisa, becoming the first K-pop solo artist to take home a VMA. Then, on November 13, she won MTV Europe Music Award for Best K-Pop, making her the first solo K-pop artist to win an EMA too.
Coming for you in the fast lane, got me all fired up, full gas tank.
In 2023, Lisa joined Taeyong on
Disney's Zootopia 2
You
is now
freaking-
only on digital.
Alright,
It's Disney Animation's #1 movie of all time.
didn't watch it.
appearing in the music video and performing the track with him. It was a high-profile collaboration with a second-generation icon, and it showed how naturally she could step into a different kind of spotlight. Jennie moved differently. In 2023, she released
I love you and me, dancing in the moonlight.
It debuted at #1 on Billboard Global excluding US, climbed to #4 on the Circle Digital chart, and reached #39 on the UK singles chart. The release felt low-key, but the impact was clear. Jennie didn't need noise to make things move. Then came the HBO moment. Jennie starred in a Hollywood series
That was a kind of not perceived well, like really badly, for multitude of reasons.
The Idol. The show drew mixed reactions, but her song One of the Girls with The Weeknd and Lily Rose Depp became the real headline. It turned into a viral hit, peaked at #10 on Billboard Global 200 and reached #51 on the Billboard Hot 100, the highest for a female K-pop soloist at the time. It also made her the first Korean female soloist to earn a platinum certification in the US, and it later passed 1 billion streams on Spotify. That opened another door for Jennie, not just as an idol trying something new, but as someone who could step into Western entertainment and still hold attention. The 31st of March 2023 completed the set.
꽃향기만 남기고 갔다.
Jisoo released her single album Me with the title track Flower. The numbers came in fast. The album sold 1.03 million copies in its first week, becoming the first album by a K-pop female soloist to pass 1 million first-week sales and the best-selling female solo album in South Korean history. Flower debuted at number 2 on Billboard Global 200. It peaked at number 2 on the Circle Digital chart and stayed in the top 10 for 12 weeks. It also reached new highs for a Korean female soloist on the Canadian Hot 100 and UK singles chart at the time.
Canadian.
9 music show wins followed, including Triple Crowns. Jisoo performed at Coachella in April 2023 and BST Hyde Park in July 2023. The final member stepped forward, and her debut didn't play small. Then, the 22nd of November 2023 brought a different level of recognition. All 4 members were officially honored in the UK by King Charles III for their...
If only it could have been the Queen. If only. Unfortunately, she died a year prior.
work supporting a global climate campaign. It was the kind of recognition that only happens when the world takes you seriously outside of music. The 29th of December 2023 changed everything. All 4 members chose not to renew their individual contracts with YG Entertainment. The group contract stayed for Blackpink activities, but solo careers became fully self-owned.
Okay, so in terms of group Blackpink itself, they are still under YG's, but in terms of each individual one, they're not. So it's like, I guess, like 2 of Red Velvet's members aren't exclusive to SM Entertainment anymore.
People questioned what it meant. The members answered by moving fast. Jisoo built her own label Blissu across 2023 and 2024. Jennie launched Odd Atelier in 2023. Lisa created L Loud Co. in 2024, then signed with RCA Records on April 10. Rosé signed with the Black label on the 18th of June 2024, founded by longtime Blackpink producer Teddy Park. In September, she signed with Atlantic Records for US distribution and WME for worldwide representation. 4 separate teams, 4 different systems, but when it came to the group, the name still stayed the same. Then 2024 hit, and it felt like 4 careers moving at once. Jennie goes on first. Odd Atelier partnered with Alta Music Group for co-management on July 24. Then Columbia Records followed on September 8. She stayed visible everywhere, from variety shows like Apartment 404 and My Name is Gabriel, to brand work that went far beyond being the face of Chanel, Calvin Klein, Jacquemus, Gentle Monster, Porsche. She even designed her own collections with several brands, stepping into the role of collaborator, not just ambassador. And the music kept showing up in key moments. Jennie featured on Zico's
Up and down, round and round, hit the spot.
in 2024, which hit #1 on the Circle Digital chart and Billboard World Digital Songs.
Looking for tax
Freaking
help?
ad.
Now there are
Google,
TurboTax
no,
experts
why?
right
Why
in your
would you do
neighborhood.
this?
They get to know your
How
unique
dare you.
situation and get you every dollar you deserve. So hand off your taxes to a local TurboTax expert today.
You
Isn't it
know
great that
skippable
T-Mobile's
ads, I
got
hate
home
you.
internet?
T-Mobile
Why?
Home Internet is all you.
Matt Champion's Slow Motion followed,
You
keeping her
stupid.
name in the conversation without rushing a full solo album. Lisa took the global pop route and pushed it hard. June 2024 kicked it off with Rockstar. Then came New Woman with Rosalia in August, and Moonlit Floor in October, flipping a familiar classic into
I do know one of those included an actual Thai mob.
something fresh. Each release showed a different side of Lisa, and the run felt planned like a series, not random singles.
Okay.
In October, she signed with Wasserman Music for worldwide touring. Then the acting lane opened. HBO's The White Lotus Season 3 cast her as Mook, filming in Thailand.
Okay, so it was an actual character. It wasn't just reality TV. I was under the assumption that this was a reality TV thing, so it wasn't actually an actual character and wasn't acting. But considering she was cast as a character, it was acting, so it does count as acting.
She also joined Extraction Tigo alongside Ma Dong-seok and Lee Jin-wook for her Korean acting debut with a late 2026 release. Thailand appointed her tourism ambassador for the Amazing Thailand campaign. She switched from Celine to Louis Vuitton as brand ambassador in July, while Bulgari stayed. And on top of everything, she became the first K-pop female soloist to reach 100 million followers on Instagram. Rosé saved her biggest move for later. The 18th of October 2024 became one of the loudest solo moments K-pop had seen in years.
It felt like an early 2000s song. It felt like something you'd hear back in 2012. Not that's in a good way. That's not a bad thing to say.
PT featuring Bruno Mars dropped and debuted at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100, later climbing to number 3. That made Rosé the first female K-pop act to debut in the top 10 and reach the top 5. The music video hit 300 million views in just over 22 days, breaking a record that had stood for over a decade. Later, it became the fastest music video by an Asian act to reach 1 billion views on YouTube. The song spent multiple weeks at number 1 on Billboard Global 200, eventually holding the top spot for 12 weeks and finishing as the number 1 song on the 2025 year-end chart. It's not even too much to say the whole world listened to that song. Then, Rosé announced her debut album Rosie on October 1 for a December 6 release. Then Number 1 Girl dropped on November 22, pulling everything back into a more emotional space with a very basic production that ended up letting her voice lead. Her brand world grew too. In 2024, she became a global ambassador for Puma, adding sportswear to a lineup that already included Saint Laurent, Tiffany & Co., Sulwhasoo, and Skims. Different brands, different audiences, and a wider reach than ever. Jisoo moved in her own direction. Her brand run kept building. Dyson in December 2023, Alo Yoga for a spring 2024 campaign, Self-Portrait in March, becoming the first musician to lead their campaign. Tommy Hilfiger arrived in fall 2024, and Cartier stayed with her through it all. Dior remained her main fashion house as a global ambassador since 2021. At the same time, she kept going outside music. She made a cameo in Dr. Chan and Lost Talisman in September.
Oh, I watched this movie. It was pretty good. I mean, it's kind of decent. Not bad. It wasn't amazing. It was just an okay movie.
September 2023. Her lead role in Snowdrop earned her Outstanding Korean Actress at the 17th Seoul International Drama Awards in 2022. She also launched her YouTube channel, Happy Jisoo 103%.
Introducing Business Essentials, a powerful combination of business checking and card payment processing
Please let me
from
skip.
US Bank.
I hate you. I hate these ads. I do. Sometimes. Thank you. Okay.
In early 2023, donating the profits to Save the Children, a global charity that supports children in need. Acting became her main focus, while she prepared her music quietly in the background. The 6th of December 2024 kicked off the release marathon. Rosé dropped Rosie, a 12-track album fully in English. Songs like made the album feel more personal. Her voice stayed front and center, with nothing hiding behind heavy production. Every song in that album is a no-skip. And the numbers backed it up. The album debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, the highest ever for a female K-pop soloist. It hit number 4 in the UK, another record. It reached number 2 on the Circle album chart and earned certifications across multiple countries. Rose also became the first K-pop artist to appear on Apple Music's year-end Top 100 global list. Later, Apple Music named APT the #1 global song of 2025.
I mean, it deserves it, so makes sense.
Then February 2025 turned into a full-on solo season. Jisoo signed her global solo deal with Warner Records on January 28, and on February 14, she released Amortage. The title track Earthquake hit #1 on Billboard World Digital Songs, and her sales came in strong right away. The project showed love like a rough montage of real moments, messy and intense. Physical copies followed on March 14, and the Korean charts responded immediately. And she took it on the road. Jisoo followed up with her solo Asia tour, bringing Amortage to fans face-to-face and turning the era into something real beyond the charts. But the bigger story in February came from her screen work. Jisoo starred in the zombie comedy Newtopia, which premiered on Prime Video and kept her acting lane moving forward at full speed. Lisa entered the year like she wanted to take over. February 6 brought featuring Ray and Doja Cat. Then on February 28, she released her full album, Alter Ego. The concept leaned into 4 different sides of her personality, and the track list made it feel global on purpose. She also appeared on Maroon 5's Priceless, keeping her name active across multiple scenes at once. The milestones kept stacking. Rockstar became her first #1 on Billboard Global excluding US. The album passed 2 billion streams on Spotify. Lalisa crossed 2 billion too, making Lisa the first K-pop female soloist with 2 projects over that mark. And Money stayed untouchable, hitting 1 billion Spotify streams first and earning another Guinness World Record. Then Jennie brought the final piece in. She opened 2025 with Love Hangover, featuring Dominic Fike on January 31. February 21 followed with Extra L, featuring Doechii. Then March 7 completed the run with her debut studio album, Ruby. Mantra had already set the tone back in October 2024, and the album leaned into high-profile collaborations like Dua Lipa on Handlebars, plus names like Childish Gambino and Kali Uchis. Ruby sold over 1 million copies worldwide, landed in the theater to global face for both fashion and beauty. 4 members, 4 lanes, 1 name behind them. And that's when people started to notice something. Separation didn't weaken Blackpink. It multiplied them. The 12th of March 2021 brought the second voice. Rose opened her chapter with Awe, led by and backed by Gone. You could feel the difference right away. Jennie stepped out first, but Rose went deeper into the feeling. 1 million.
The way you see an idea
Sorry
in your
about
mind
that.
and shape it into something that could only
copies world.
The way you see an idea in your mind
Excuse me?
and shape it into something that could
wide, landed in the top 10 across more than 19 countries, and became the highest charting album by a K-pop female soloist in the UK, featuring Dominic Fike on January 31. February 21 followed with Extra L, featuring Doechii. Then, March 7 completed the run with her debut studio album, Ruby. Mantra had already set the tone back in October 2024, and the album leaned into high-profile collaborations like Dua Lipa on Handlebars, plus names like Childish Gambino and Kali Uchis. Ruby sold over 1 million copies worldwide, landed in the top 10 across more than 19 countries, and became the highest charting album by a K-pop female soloist in the UK. Mantra hit #3 on Billboard Global 200 and the Circle Digital chart, and it also broke a UK singles chart record for a Korean female soloist.
Come on, it's gonna be fucking hard.
Okay.
But the track that really took over was
Don't boast, take it to the chorus. Wanna rock with Jennie? Keep your head
Brazilian funk and funk sounds, confident delivery,
Interesting.
and a hook that moved fast across the internet. It became her third #1 on the Circle Digital chart, climbed into the top 5 on Billboard Global 200, and pushed her past the 4 top 10 hits Blackpink and Lisa had on Global excluding US. Then came a bigger flex. Every single from Ruby entered the Billboard Hot 100, and Jennie became the first K-pop female soloist to place 3 songs on the chart in the same week. The wave didn't stay on charts only. Like Jennie became the most streamed K-pop song on Spotify in the first half of 2025. The music video became the first K-pop MV released in 2025 to hit 100 million views, doing it in 62 days. TikTok went even crazier, with over 5 billion views tied to the song. Jennie also became the first female K-pop soloist to pass 3 billion Spotify streams in a single year, and like Jennie, landed on Apple Music's year-end Top 100 global list, putting her in another rare category. March brought more recognition. Jennie appeared in the Chanel 25 handbag campaign and received the Global Force Award at Billboard Women in Music, becoming the first Korean soloist to win at the ceremony. And while the solo albums were still fresh, Lisa added another first. On the 2nd of March 2025, she performed at the 97th Academy Awards, becoming the first K-pop artist ever to perform at the Oscars. She delivered Live and Let Die during a James Bond tribute alongside Doja Cat and Ray at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles. Rosé also landed on the Time 100 list. Jennie and Lisa performed solo sets at Coachella, proving they could carry those stages alone without leaning on the group name. May gave Rosé another soundtrack moment. She released...
Was this for F1?
For the F1 film.
Yeah.
One of the biggest blockbusters of 2025. She also teamed up with Alex Warren on My Mind, adding another collab to her run that year. She also attended the Met Gala, and the fashion world treated her like a main character. Then, July 2025 brought the group back into focus. Blackpink released Jump, their first group song in nearly 2 years. It debuted at #1 on Billboard Global 200, giving them their third #1 on the chart. The group still worked, and the gap made the return hit harder. The Deadline World Tour began in South Korea.
Just the song felt a bit, I don't know, rushed. Not polished enough.
Each member performed solo songs from their own era during the shows. And the setlist kept changing as the tour went on, letting each member bring their solo era into the show. That same month, Jisoo's film debut, Omniscient Reader: The Prophecy, hit theaters, pushing her acting career even further.
Most of my classmates, they were also working adults.
Oh,
so you
gosh.
feel like you're in a place where
Further past
He wouldn't like it due to, source material wasn't exactly correct. According to people that read it, it's supposed to be a sword, not a gun.
television. And she wasn't slowing down. Another drama, Boyfriend on Demand, was already lined up for early 2026. September 2025 brought more trophies. Rosé won VMA Song of the Year with APT, becoming the first K-pop act to ever win that category. Lisa's Born Again won Best K-pop at the same ceremony, giving her a third win in that category and tying BTS for the most wins in its history. October brought Jisoo back into music again. She released Eyes Closed with Zayn, earning her highest charting UK solo song and her first entry on the Billboard Hot 100. Then November 2025 delivered the Grammy breakthrough. Rosé earned 3 Grammy nominations for APT at the 68th Annual Grammy Awards, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year. It became the most nominated song by any Korean artist in Grammy history, and she became the first K-pop lead artist nominated in a Big Four category. Guinness World Records followed. This time, it wasn't Western attention treating K-pop like a trend. Rosé broke through as a pop artist competing at the highest level. And the year closed with awards flooding in. At the Melon Music Awards on December 20, Jennie performed and won 3 awards, including Record of the Year, becoming the first soloist in MMA history to take the grand prize. Rose received a South Korean presidential commendation for her cultural contributions, and she collected major wins across multiple ceremonies as well. The 10th of January 2026 brought the 40th Golden Disc Awards. Jennie became the first artist to win the newly established Artist of the Year Grand Prize, while also taking awards for Global Impact, Best Digital Song, and more. She also dominated at MAMA, APMA, and Tencent Music's year-end awards.
Tencent is China.
In just the span of a few months, all 4 solo worlds were fully active. No overlap, no fighting for the same crowd. 4 different lanes pulling attention from 4 different directions. And by early 2026, all eyes turned back to Blackpink. January 2026 arrived with all 4 members at their peak. Jennie had her lane locked with fashion and music moving together. Rose had reached a new global level, backed by Grammy attention and streaming power. Lisa had built the widest reach, turning every release into a global moment. And Jisoo had Korea fully with her, growing her name through acting and carefully chosen partnerships. The separation never broke Blackpink. It expanded them. Fashion, music, acting, charts, brands, global stages. One group turned into 4 careers running at full speed. And when they came back together in 2026, it didn't feel like a reunion to survive. It felt like 4 icons choosing the same name again. Blackpink dared to be bold. Will you?
Okay. Right, that one's over, so we're gonna go back to this one now. What is this? Send help? Okay.
Before the charts, before the crowns, before the industry knew what to call them, a group built to rule the industry. And years later, after the silence, they are taking the crown back. Because kings don't stop being kings just because the room goes quiet. Before EXO ever stepped on stage,
that's only
SM
23
Entertainment made a
minutes,
choice that would define the next decade. A boy group orchestrating a modern mythology, 12 members split into 2 units. XOK for Korea, XOM for China, with each assigned a superpower, each carrying a piece of a larger cosmic narrative as celestial beings from an exoplanet. Their debut teasers was like no others. Over 100 days, SM Entertainment released 23 trailers that felt less like idol teasers and more like the opening act of a cosmic war. They presented the Red Force, a corrupting, unseen evil that sought to dry up the tree of life, forcing the 12 legends to fracture their world into 2 parallel dimensions to survive.
Okay, this is a different
the industry was skeptical.
SM Entertainment one.
This high-concept,
we're good.
cinematic
I'm not
approach
rewatching the
was
same
far
thing.
more elaborate than typical idol group introductions at the time. But SM committed with a level of production and seriousness that made doubt uncomfortable. EXO were being positioned as an inevitability, and the sheer confidence in that framing created a gravitational pull. Fans started anticipating the beginning of an era. It was the slow, deliberate forging of a crown that would never be passed.
In terms of SM Entertainment, I don't think...
On the 8th of April 2012, the world heard the opening of Mama. Mama opens with Gregorian chanting, a chant in an ancient language, layered over orchestral strings
Usually
and a
it's
bass
Latin,
synth that sounds like it's pulling from somewhere beneath the earth. And by the time the first chorus hits, the song has been ingrained in fans' mind. The K-pop community hadn't seen a debut this aggressive or this expensive in years. Critics who had mocked the 100-day teasers were suddenly silenced by the sheer vocal scale of the performance. Public reaction was split. Some called it visionary, Others initially called the concept overproduced or inaccessible. Digitally, the climb was steep. Mama didn't explode onto the charts with the ease of a radio hit. Yet, the sheer audacity of the debut made EXO a permanent fixture in the cultural conversation. They dominated the physical charts, moving over 100,000 units in an era where such numbers for a rookie were unheard of. It made EXO impossible to ignore. You either respected the swing or you didn't, but you couldn't pretend it didn't happen. While the digital crown hadn't been claimed yet, the foundation of a physical empire was set. EXO would never ask for permission. Mama established a presence, but the year that followed was defined by a brutal 433-day silence. In an industry built on constant visibility, EXO vanished, leaving fans to survive on nothing but the lore of the teasers. By the time 2013 arrived, the hiatus had turned a casual audience into a starved, militant fandom. And for that, EXO returned with Wolf, a song that divided listeners immediately. The track built around an aggressive synth riff and tribal percussion, with the members howling in the pre-chorus. The choreography mimicked Wolfpack behavior, all crouch stances and snapping movements, with heavy eyeliner and leather harnesses. It was polarizing and ridiculous to some, but it worked because EXO sold it without irony.
Yeah.
On the 14th of June 2013, the skepticism broke when they earned their first ever music show win on Music Bank. But the momentum didn't stop there. In a stunning 72-hour takeover, they swept the industry's biggest stages, claiming trophies on Show Music Core and Inkigayo back-to-back. Within days, they added a fourth win on Show Champion. It was the physical proof that their high-concept gamble had paid off. EXO started appearing everywhere. Music shows, variety programs, university festivals, fan meetings that sold out within minutes. Their popularity was exponential. Within months, they went from promising rookies to the group everyone was talking about, the group other fandoms had to acknowledge. The media started using words like phenomenon and monster rookies, but those labels felt insufficient. EXO were creating the conditions that everyone else would have to navigate. The throne was no longer being forged, it was being assembled in the center of the industry, and the foundation was already taller than anything else in sight.
Nobody likes a cracked windshield.
Freaking
What was that? No. But you can go to safelife.com.
Okay.
On the 5th of August 2013, the sound
one.
of the entire K-pop era shifted. Growl doesn't sound like Mama or Wolf. It sounds like confidence that no longer needs to prove itself. The melody is simple. It was sophisticated, urban, and effortlessly cool. The music video was shot in a single continuous take as EXO moved in and out of frame with choreography that looked spontaneous but was meticulously timed. The video went viral for the execution. People rewatched it to catch details, to see how the formations never faltered, to appreciate the audacity of filming an entire music video without a cut. It topped major charts in South Korea, won Song of the Year at multiple award shows, and became the first K-pop album in 12 years to sell over 1 million copies. The song transcended K-pop and entered the broader public consciousness in a way that few releases ever do, and EXO became the undisputed face of their generation. This was dominance. The crown was no longer theoretical.
I mean, yeah.
On the 15th of May 2014, Chris Wu filed a lawsuit against SM Entertainment to terminate his contract. The stated reasons were health concerns and unfair contract terms. The news broke during EXO's peak, just months after Growl had solidified their position at the top. The media coverage was immediate and relentless.
Why'd you have to file a
and the narrative
lawsuit?
quickly shifted from EXO's success to EXO's instability. Fans were blindsided. Some condemned the departure as betrayal, and the fracture lines within the fandom became visible overnight. The group's first concert tour continued as scheduled, but the absence was impossible to ignore. The 12 powers of the EXO mythology had lost its first element, and the narrative of dominance was replaced by one of profound instability. The fracture deepened in June when news broke that Baekhyun was dating Girls' Generation's Taeyeon. In the 2014 K-pop climate, it was a
Dating.
scandal that incited a civil war within the fandom. Once the
Dating the
group's
worst
light
crime you
faced
can make.
intense backlash from fans who felt betrayed by his perceived lack of focus during the group's crisis. 5 months later in October, Luhan, one of the group's most popular and visible members, followed with his own lawsuit. The reasons echoed Chris's, citing health issues and contract disputes. 2 of the group's main pillars were gone within half a year. The media began to ask the lethal question, can EXO survive this? The answer came at the 2014 Mama Awards. Despite the lawsuits and the dating scandals, EXO conquered, winning both Artist of the Year and Album of the Year for Overdose. As they stood on stage with tears in their eyes, the message was clear. The polished myth was bleeding, but the empire wasn't collapsing anytime soon. EXO closed 2014 with Overdose, a track built on sharp synths and a hypnotic bass line that looped like an addiction. The song's title was about obsession, about wanting something so badly it becomes destructive. And the irony wasn't lost on anyone. EXO was living that narrative in real time, juggling massive success with internal fractures, and the music reflected it. But the cost was visible if you looked close enough. Concert footage from the tour showed members pushing through exhaustion, performing for 2 hours in front of crowds that screamed loud enough to drown out the backing track. The tour hit Seoul, Japan, China, and beyond, selling out arenas and proving EXO's draw hadn't diminished despite the departures. If anything, the desperation to see them perform live intensified because fans knew the lineup could change again. The true test of survival came in early 2015 with the Exodus album. The lead single, Call Me Baby, was released in March as a 10-member effort. The track dominated, racking up 18 music show wins, a record proving the public was doubling down. However, as the trophies stacked up, the lineup thinned. Tao, who was featured in the Call Me Baby music video and early stages, suffered injuries that eventually led to his withdrawal in April. By the time the Love Me Right repackage arrived in June, the 12-member mythology was officially dead. The cosmic narrative about 12 powers and perfect balance had to be abandoned or rewritten. They stepped into the Exodus era as a 9-member unit, proving that the strength of the group wasn't in its original numbers, but in its ability to survive its own collapse. The throne had demanded sacrifices, and they had paid them. Now they had to prove the throne was still worth holding. On the 9th of June 2016, EXO stopped trying to fill the gaps left by the past and started building a leaner, more dangerous future. Monster opens with a distorted vocal chop and a trap-influenced beat that hits harder than anything EXO had released before. This was EXO stripped down and sharpened, and the message was clear. They didn't need 12 members to rule. They didn't need lore or superpowers or cosmic narratives. They just needed to be better than everyone else, and they were. Their album, Exact, sold over 660,000 copies in its first month, making it one of the best-selling albums of 2016. Monster and its counterpart title track, Lucky One, dominated music shows, and EXO swept the year-end awards despite being numerically smaller and structurally different than the group that had debuted 4 years earlier. Then, just as the industry adjusted to this dark intensity, EXO flipped the script entirely. In July 2017, they released Coco Bop, a reggae pop fusion with addictive summer anthem. This era marked a significant shift in EXO's journey. As the last remaining Chinese member, Lay found himself at the center of a geopolitical storm. Following a dispute between South Korea and China, a Hallyu ban made it almost impossible for him to promote with the group in Seoul without facing massive backlash or legal restrictions.
Sara Lee Delightful Bread. The great taste you love, with 45 calorie
restrictions at home. In a historic move, SM allowed Lay to establish his own studio in China, and for the next 5 years, Lay became physically absent from the stage. He built a massive solo empire, becoming a mogul and producer. effectively acting as EXO's ambassador in a market they could no longer touch. On the 8th of April 2022, his contract with SM ended, changing his title from employee to family, promising to return whenever the brothers called. In November 2018, EXO released Tempo, a cappella song disguised as a pop track. The verses are built almost entirely on vocal layering, with each member's voice stacked and interwoven to create harmony. The album Don't Mess Up My Tempo became EXO's 5th consecutive album to sell over 1 million copies, and Tempo earned them another round of music show wins and year-end awards. 1 month later, they delivered the lethal encore, Love Shot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this one.
If Tempo was a demonstration of skill, Love Shot was a demonstration of lethal charisma. The choreography, defined by the iconic gun-loading movement, became an immediate cultural staple, ensuring the group's image remained burned into the public consciousness. Together, these releases made them the first quintuple million sellers of the modern era. But the achievement was more than numerical. It was the final image of EXO at full power. Mature, flawless, and operating at a level most never reach. Just a group at the absolute peak of their abilities, delivering one last harmonic and visual siege before the silence of enlistment began. And that silence was coming, whether anyone was ready for it or not.
Then it happens.
On the 7th of May 2019, Seomin enlisted in the South Korean military. He was the first, but everyone knew he wouldn't be the last. One by one, the remaining members followed. D.O. in July 2019, Suho and Chen in 2020, Chanyeol and Baekhyun in 2021. The gap between group activities stretched from months to years, and EXO, the group that had dominated Korean music for nearly a decade, went dark. No comebacks, concerts, or group appearances. Newer groups debuted and rose to prominence during EXO's hiatus, and the narrative around K-pop's hierarchy shifted. Fourth-generation groups claimed momentum, pulled massive numbers on streaming platforms, and built fandoms that had never experienced EXO's peak. To them, EXO were legacy, history, something older fans talked about with nostalgia. The media began framing EXO in past tense, using phrases like during their era and back when, and the slow creep of irrelevance felt more dangerous than any rivalry ever had. But forgetting wasn't the same as disappearing. XOLs didn't move on. Never. They waited. Streaming numbers for old releases stayed consistent. Anniversary hashtags trended globally every April 8th. Fan projects continued. Fan accounts stayed active, and the community that had been built during EXO's peak refused to disband just because the group was on pause. The question wasn't whether the fans were still there. The question was whether EXO would return to a world that had already moved past them, and whether they'd still have the strength to reclaim what had been left behind. While the group name went quiet, the members did not. They executed a strategic diversification of power. Baekhyun released solo albums that shattered 28-year-old records, becoming the first Korean soloist to achieve multiple million-seller milestones. D.O.
rules, commands, MCP servers, subagents, modes,
This ad,
hooks,
why does this keep
tools.
popping up?
There's a lot.
Transitioned into the cinematic landscape, earning critical acclaim in films like The Moon and proving he was no longer an idle actor, but a legitimate pillar of the industry. Kai redefined solo performance with a sensual R&B artistry that peaked with the global viral dominance of Rover.
Hey, he got IU to sing it, so there you go.
While Chen and Suho anchored the group's vocal legacy in the ballad and rock pop genres. This solo success did something unexpected. It kept EXO relevant without requiring the group to exist. Every chart-topping album and every award-winning film premiere reminded the public that these were artists expanding, thriving, and operating at a level that didn't require the group name for validation. The power they held individually was a terrifying hint of what they would be capable of if they ever returned to a single formation. Don't Fight the Feeling arrived during the darkest years of the enlistment cycle, and its strategy reflected that fractured reality. Only 7 members participated. The song was aggressively optimistic, built on a funky guitar riff and a disco beat designed to counteract the weight of the hiatus. The song charted, the album sold, and XOLs supported it with the same intensity they brought to every release. Despite the fragmented lineup and the lack of traditional promotions, EXO was still a group, still capable of releasing material, still legally and contractually bound together. Disbandment wasn't happening, but the release also made it clear that partial lineups weren't enough. 5 members couldn't carry the weight the same way 9 could, and 9 couldn't do what 12 once did. The song was a holding pattern, and holding patterns don't build momentum. They just delay the inevitable question. When the members all return, what will EXO actually be? By 2023, the media used EXO as a benchmark for history, a respectful way of saying EXO was no longer a threat. The industry had moved on to a new generation, and the silence from the group felt like a surrender. This was compounded by a final, sudden blow. Just as a full group comeback was within reach, Kai was forced to enlist in May 2023 with only a week's notice due to abrupt changes in military regulations. His service began several months earlier than anticipated, preventing him from joining the group's long-awaited promotions. Even as the final members served, the foundation held, with a loyal fandom that refused to let the fire die. And as of January 2026, the era of absence is over. With Kai's discharge in February 2025 and Sehun's in September, every member is finally a civilian again, returning to a world that had been holding its breath. In 2026, EXO is no longer a historical reference point. They are back on the throne, proving that the crown was waiting for the kings to return. The announcement arrived without warning in December 2025, but the impact landed on the 19th of January 2026. EXO was returning with a full-scale project. Reverse. The name was a deliberate return to the high fantasy mythology and superpower lore that had once made them untouchable. The standout title track, Crown, is a powerful industrial dance anthem that blends distortion with heavy metal riffs. The rest of the project includes Back It Up, Suffocate, Moonlight Shadows, Back Pocket, Touch and Go, Flatline, and I'm Home. The response was a global mobilization that defied every industry prediction. XOLs, who had spent years guarding an empty throne, moved with a crazy intensity, dominating digital charts and coordinated physical sales that shattered the legacy group ceiling. As the first day's sales reached over 265,000 copies on the Hanteo chart, the industry realized its mistake. They had mistaken silence for disappearance. The crown wasn't being reclaimed by the group alone. It was being handed back by a fandom that had refused to let anyone else wear it. The people who had forgotten were being reminded that EXO never asks for permission. They take, and they take with an
Really?
army behind them. This story was never about 12 becoming 9 or 9 becoming 6. It was about what remains when everything that can be taken away is taken away, and whether what's left is still worth the wait. EXO lost people they started with. They lost years to mandatory service. They lost the industry's attention while newer groups rose and claimed the spaces they used to occupy. They could have let it go. We couldn't have blamed them either. Most groups don't survive what EXO survived. Most don't come back after that kind of absence. The members who remained didn't stay because of contracts or obligations. They stayed because the crown still meant something to them, even when the world stopped caring whether they wore it. For XOLs, the wait wasn't easy. It really wasn't. The industry moved on, the media wrote EXO off, and the fans refused to accept either narrative. They waited because they believed the story wasn't finished, and they were right. The crown was held in trust by the people who refused to forget what EXO had been and what they still could be. The victory of Reverse is hard-won and bittersweet, as the group navigates a complex legal divide that has left Chen, Baekhyun, and Seamin on the sidelines. Yet, even with 3 empty seats, the remaining 6 stand as a shield for the name, proving that the crown is held not just by numbers, but by the will to stay. There's a detail worth mentioning. On the 11th of April 2026, EXO is scheduled to perform at KSPO Dome in Seoul for their first full group concert since the eclipse. April 12 is Sehun's birthday, the youngest member, the maknae who debuted at 18 and will stand on that stage at 32, surrounded by the people who waited and the members who stayed. It's a small thing, a coincidence of timing, but it captures something true about what this entire story has been. The wait ends not with grand declarations or symbolic gestures, but with presence. 6 members on stage, XOLs in the crowd, and their music playing in the background. The crown was never abandoned. It was just waiting for the right hands to pick it back up. And those hands are ready now. EXO dared to be bold. Will you?
All right. I guess that's the end of the stream. Again, if you're on the rewatch, subscribe if you want, comment your thoughts of the videos. I have the video description. Until next time, I will see you all later. Bye.
The unkillable and in the mid lane, the unkillable Demon King, the first inductee into the Hall of Legends, and the greatest of all time,
Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
Are you ready?
That is a really...
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my.
Oh my, what a play, what a grab!
Another jump here off the high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stuck up. The EMP comes in, and ding, he rains down hell from above. Here comes Pine. Gets one, gets two. Looking for a bit more, gets another one.
Tuno down again. That heralds disaster generally for the Fusion, and Carpe wasn't far behind. Prophet, he's killed 4 players now on his own.
From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. Sound is huge. The bomb coming from China. Oh my God, he does it again.
Flutter now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot, and the headshot, and the headshot.
We're going to try and circle around. I'm going to call this the merry-go-round because it makes me laugh. Makes me happy. And Sean Paul switches to the Widowmaker at just the right time. Oh, the Raven!
best jersey in the world.
Oh my word!
I mean, you could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches. Feels like a really emotional moment here.
Sorry.
All right, I'll see you later. Bye.